Hello. Today's session is titled Introduction to Computing Systems, Evolution from Calculators to Stored Program Computers. We live in a world surrounded by computers, not just laptops and smartphones, but cars, ATMs, air conditioners, and even coffee machines, which are controlled by the computers. But these systems didn't just appear one day. They are a result of centuries of innovation. Before I begin, let me ask you, how many of you have used calculator on your phone in the last week? Now imagine a world without calculators, without even electricity. People use simple counting tools, and over the time, those tools evolved into machines, then into electronic devices, and finally into the powerful general purpose computers we use today. Today, we will trace the journey from the abacus to the stored program computer, the foundation of modern computing. Here is a roadmap of our journey today. First, the early mechanical tools. Abacus and mechanical calculators introduced structured ways of solving arithmetic problems. Electromechanical and electronic systems. The machines moved from gears and wheels to electricity, boosting both speed and reliability. The revolutionary idea that programs and data can be stored in the same memory, making the computers flexible. And lastly, with transistors and integrated circuits, we finally achieved the compact, fast, and affordable systems. Do you think the computing evolved through sudden big inventions, or was it a slow step by step process? The truth is both. Some moments were explosive breakthroughs, like the transistor, but those breakthroughs were only possible because of gradual progress made before. So computing evolution is like climbing a mountain step by step with occasional big leaps when a new invention opened the way forward. Let's start with the earliest stage. The abacus developed thousands of years ago, which was often called as first computing device. It was simply beads on rods, but it allowed peoples to add and subtract quickly. Even today, children are trained in abacus can calculate faster than the calculators. In 1600, Blaise Pascal, a French mathematician, invented a Pascaline, a gear-driven calculator that could automatically add and subtract. And this was revolution. Instead of doing math manually, you could rely on a machine. Then G.W. Leibniz, another great mathematician, designed a step reckoner. This machine went further. It could multiply and divide mechanically. How many of you have ever seen an abacus in real life? These early devices were mechanical marvels. They weren't the computers yet, but they proved one powerful idea that machines can assist human brains in calculation. Think of them as calculator applications in 1600s, clunky and physical, but groundbreaking in their time. By the early 20th century, machines moved from being purely mechanical to partly electrical. Electromechanical computers used electronic or electrical relays with mechanical gears. A famous example is Harvard Mark I, a huge machine that was 50 feet long. It could read instructions from punched cards and perform calculations faster than any human. But the real leap came with vacuum tube computers. Vacuum tubes replaced the mechanical parts with electronic switching. They acted like an on or off switch for current, enabling much faster processing. The most famous example is ENIAC, electronic numerical integrated or integrator and computer, which was built in 1945. It used around 18,000 vacuum tubes and it could perform thousands of operations per second, something unimaginable at that time. Now think of this. Would you be okay if your laptop needed an entire room, consumed massive electricity, and crashed every few hours because the tube burned out? These machines were powerful but impractical for daily use. Still, they laid the foundation for modern electronic computing. Vacuum tubes worked but had three big problems. They were huge, they generated enormous heat, and they failed often. The solution was transistor, invented in late 1940s and then widely used in 1950s. Transistors were smaller, cooler, more reliable, and consumed less power. And this marked the second generation of computers. But the progress didn't stop here. The next leap was the integrated circuits, ICs, a single silicon chip containing multiple transistors. These ICs reduced size and cost dramatically, making the computers faster, cheaper, and accessible to businesses and eventually homes. Now, if I ask a question, can you name devices today that rely on integrated circuits? Answer is almost everything. The smartphones, the microwaves, the cars, TVs, and even smartwatches. Without ICs, we could not have a personal computer. We could not have laptops or even smartphones. And this was the era when computers stopped being rare laboratory machines and they became part of everyday life. Now let's talk about the biggest intellectual revolution in computing, the stored program concept. Earlier, to make the computer do something new, you had to physically rewire it or change the punched cards. And this was slow and inconvenient. The new idea proposed by John von Neumann and colleagues was simple but powerful. Store both data and instructions in the same memory. Let the CPU fetch instructions from memory, execute them, and repeat. And this became known as the von Neumann architecture, which had three major components: the CPU, central processing unit, a memory to store both data and instructions, and input output devices to interact with the system. Now think about this. What if your phone didn't follow the stored program concept? Answer is you wouldn't be able to install apps. You would need separate machines, one for WhatsApp, one for Instagram, one for YouTube, and so on. And so this concept is the reason why your laptop can run Word, Chrome, games on the same hardware. And it made computers truly general purpose. Now let's bring it all together. We started with abacus and early calculators, which introduced automation. We saw electromechanical and vacuum tube computers, which brought programmability and speed. Then the transistors and integrated circuits shrunk the sizes of computers and made them affordable. And finally, the stored program concept, which gave flexibility, making one computer capable of many tasks. What do you think the next big leap in computing will be? Artificial intelligence, quantum computing, or something else? This journey from beads on a rod to AI in your pocket shows how far human creativity has taken us. Computing history is not just about machines, but about solving human problems and innovation. And maybe one of you sitting here today will contribute to the next leap in computing systems.